Hey guys, I'm going to show you a real easy way to process some of these chickens. And this is a little overkill on these broilers because they're such good quality. You could fry them or whatever you wanted. But this method I usually use for my yard birds or extra roosters if you have a bunch of extra roosters running in the yard. What you do is you boil them first. I have this big pot here. I can do 2 at a time. Boil them about an hour. Some yard birds don't take as long because there's not much meat on their bones. Good thing to know that they're done is pick up one of the back quarters and it should fall off the rest of the chicken. But again, on yard birds, that's not as much because their breasts aren't as big as these broilers. Big old breast. But anyway, you do that, you boil them, you keep your broth, you cool them off, you debone them, and put 1 chicken's worth in a gallon bag. That's 1 chicken's worth, about, I'd say, pound and a half of chicken. And then you use their same broth and you fill the bag with it. Okay? And what this does is as the freezing process happens, it pushes all that juice back into the meat. So if you just have a yard bird that's not very flavorful, it won't dry out the meat. Secondary, I can leave this in the freezer just like this for 6 months to a year because the liquid is covering the chicken, so you can't get freezer burned as easy. So it works both ways. But what I'll do is I'll put these like this, and then in our meat freezer, I'll just stack them up a couple at a time until they freeze, and then stack them, and it'll just be 1-inch bricks, just like that in the freezer. When they're frozen, they'll look just like that, and you pull one out like a disc. They thaw really fast since they're so spread so thin, and the meat's already cooked, and so you need to make a supper. You just grab one out, thaw it out in a couple hours, and make chicken spaghetti, any kind of chicken and rice, and you have that good broth to go with it too. On yard birds, on let's say roosters, because I know a lot of people have a rooster problem, they don't know what to do with them. This is a great way to use your roosters, but I'd put 2 roosters to a bag because they don't have as much meat. So I do 2 roosters to a bag and then put the broth. In some cases, you have heavy broth, like mainly on roosters per se, because they have so much fat on them, and even their bone marrow has more fat because they're just so old. So just skim off the best broth off the top if you have too much. But see, this is leftover broth that I'll put in the next one. See, it's just beautiful, beautiful chicken broth. And I use this, bought at a garage sale a while back for 25 cents. To strain out anything in the chicken. I just want pure broth. And then, like I said, I'll put those up. So at the end of the day, we're going to do a couple of different ways, but more likely we'll have about 25 gallon Ziploc bags just like that in the freezer ready for a meal. But that's a good way to do your roosters, and I just wanted to show y'all how I did that. Real easy, just boil it about an hour, a little under an hour. Take it out, let it cool, debone it, mainly the breast and the legs, but I get as much as I can, and I'm gnawing all the extras that I don't want to put in there. And then once you have it separated, it'll look like this in a gallon bag. That's just shredded chicken, 1 shredded chicken. And then when you're strain your broth, let it cool, and then pour it on top of the chicken, and it goes to about right above the chicken, about right here, about halfway up the bag. And then seal your bag, seal all the air out, as much air as you can out. I have 1 little bubble of air right there. That's all the air I have in there. And then lay it sideways. And don't put too many at a time in a freezer. Put 2 and let them freeze, and then put 2 more. You can keep them in the refrigerator for a couple days, just like this with the broth. So put a couple in the freezer, let them, they don't have to freeze all the way, but let them get hard, let them get brick-like, then lay a couple more on top, and they'll just form to that, and you'll just have bricks of meals. Get the expensive Ziploc, just because the way they're laying on their side, you want a good seal. You don't want just cheapy gallon bags. All right, guys, I hope this helps somebody. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.